yeah, like I said, my biggest classroom management like tactic when it comes down to student engagement is good morning, friends. I'm just stopped on my way to work. Welcome back to the Caffeinated Classroom. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Marie. I'm a high school English teacher in Southern California. So, to follow up from yesterday's vlog, I finished making the quizzes that I need to make for my students today for their Lord of the Flies companion lit circle books. So I made 3 different 5-question quizzes, and I'm gonna make copies when I get to work. So my goals for today, because it's Friday, happy Friday. It is a weekly, holiday. Why not choose a moment to celebrate? Yeah, I know Friday comes every week, but it's awesome because it's Friday. My goals for today are a few-fold. Number 1, I need to get my desk area in my classroom all cleaned up. So that's number 1. Goal number 2 is to get next week totally, absolutely well planned out. Don't do the classic me, which is think it all through, write down the plans, but then forget to make several of the actual activities. Get it all done. And bonus goal, caveat to number 2, if I can get all of my copies made, I will be a really happy camper. And then goal number 3 is to get all of my to-do list, daily agenda slides made for both classes. Not too lofty of goals, but I do have a pretty full teaching day coming up, so we'll see how much of that actually happens. I also have kind of a lot of grading to do. I got a little behind because I had a break last week, and so truly I've only had this stuff for a school week, but I've really had it physically for 2 weeks. I need to get this stuff graded. And yeah, but I'm about to, I need to get this car moving and get off the side of the road and go in and make some copies. Okay, I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Friday has almost completely come and gone since I checked in with you this morning. So here's what went on in my classes. We started with First Chapter Friday, which is something I was excited to tell you about. So I am finding the book right now that I used. Here it is over here. So every Friday in my classroom is First Chapter Friday. And First Chapter Friday is something that I've talked about quite a bit on Instagram. So go and check out some of my posts there. They can kind of explain a little bit more about what it is and where it came from. But First Chapter Friday is essentially exactly what it sounds like. It is where every Friday I introduce my students to a new book of different genres. Most of them are YA right now. And we read the first chapter. So today's book is Jem and Dixie by Sarah Zarr. And it is a story of 2 sisters who are teenagers who live pretty much at the poverty line and are fending for themselves because their mom has issues and their dad is intermittently in and out of their lives. And so what I do, finding the sheet. And so what I do is I give my students on their way in the door on Fridays a little half sheet of paper, and the half sheets look like this. And as you can see, there's a little abstract coloring thing up at the top, and then down at the bottom there is an excerpt from the text. And so what we do is they come in and they sit down, and they know the drill now because we've been doing this enough weeks, where they glue this into their composition book and it fits in the half sheet fits right on one of the pages. And we read through it. I have a volunteer read through the passage because it's a passage from the first chapter. We talk just for a second about a little prompt, and the prompt normally has to do with some sort of identifying and then analyzing the use of a literary device, figurative language, something like that. And then I put on the audiobook and we listen to the first chapter. So I can kind of show you what that looks like if you want. Of course you do. Here I go. So I wanted to say really fast before I show you the prompt that I use. I just pulled up the slides. I'm just going to show you what the students see when they come in. because I always get questions like, how did I make these? I sincerely did a Google image search of abstract coloring pages, and I made sure that there was nothing like copywritten, and I copy and pasted them. And then I just looked through the first chapter of all of these books that I'm using for each Friday, and I pulled out a passage. So anyways, here I'm gonna show you the prompt. As students come in, this is up on the board, and like I said, they already know the whole like shebang. They take the half sheet on their way in and glue it in, and then the prompt for today was, how does the author's use of simile contribute to the development of character in this passage? And so we talk about what is your purpose for reading, or your purpose for listening right now, and your purpose is twofold. It's to, number one, put this passage into context to understand what's going on, who is speaking, who are they speaking about, and then your purpose is to use that knowledge in order to address the prompt. So we listen through, it normally takes about 15 minutes to listen through the audiobook of the whole entire chapter, and I just find the audiobook through my school's library. We have, you know, like our district has subscriptions to different audiobook services, and so the one that we use is called Overdrive, and then Overdrive also has like another offshoot called like Sora, S-O-R-A, Sora app. I'll link these things down below, and inquire to your library if this is something that you're interested in, because you might be able to get this stuff for free like me. So we do that, and they color as they are listening is just a way to practice auditory processing. And I have the little jars around my room that have colored pencils in them, and some kids just use highlighters, and some just use a pencil and they do different shading. It's just a way for them to have busy hands while they're listening and processing, just to practice that skill of listening. And then at the very end, I say, okay, reminder of the prompt, take a moment, you know, like for today, I said, underline the simile in the passage, and then make a note on the side about how that simile is used to provide characterization. I take a few volunteers, we talk about it for a minute, and I say, if you're not willing to volunteer right now, you need to at least be writing down what we are saying in case it's something you don't have, so that you are seeing a demonstration of how to use these analytical skills. And I'm really, really plain with my students, and I really explain to them the why of everything that I do, and I find that it really like boosts engagement, especially for high schoolers. There's a whole lot of why do we have to learn this? Why do we have to learn this? That doesn't necessarily happen in the elementary, and I'm sure it happens at the middle school age too. But like elementary kids don't ask a whole lot of why do we have to do this? They just say, okay. At least in my experience, and that might be because when I taught elementary, I was teaching like fun, like different sort of like extension or enrichment lessons. So I think I might have had a pretty unique experience in that, but like they're pretty willing to comply. But high school, not always. And so it just takes the explanation of the why. And I explain, why do we do, in fact, today I did it when I saw kids starting to kind of like, all right, I don't need to listen to this. I was explaining that these skills that we are practicing, like auditory processing, are going to help them not just in classrooms when teachers are talking, but also like, you know, when your mom is telling you things and she says, are you even listening to me? And you nod and you say, uh-huh, but you know you're not. And you want to be listening, but you're not sure how to, and your brain is just not working. It's because your brain is not used to practicing auditory processing. So there's one of the life skills you're taking away from First Chapter Friday. That was a lot of explanation, but there you go. Yeah, like I said, my biggest classroom management like tactic when it comes down to student engagement is to like really make sure they understand what they're going to get out of it. And I think that that's perfectly fair to explain to students what they're supposed to be learning from this, what skills they're going to gain, and what they are practicing, and how that's going to apply to their lives. I think is a perfectly fair need for students to have to be able to fully engage with something, right? We don't want them just following anything blindly. We want them to at least have a reason to engage, and then it makes their engagement actually like legitimate, and they're like part of what's going on. So there's I'm gonna, boop, there I am off my soapbox now. So with my sophomores this morning after First Chapter Friday, we did our first book club meeting, and I'm actually really excited to show you all of the stuff that we do with that. But while I am grabbing it, I want you to see what it looked like in my classroom. But you guys, I have to show you something that was really, really sweet. When I came into my classroom this morning, here's what I found. Sitting in front of my computer was this bag of Reese's peanut butter cups with a very sweet note from one of my friends that I work with, and I just thought she was so sweet, and I love her. And you know, it's just a testament to like being around amazing people makes all the difference. And I know that we can't always control the people that we work with. Obviously, there's no real control we have over that, but like, there are good people around all of us. It just sometimes takes a minute to be able to identify who they are and like how and why they are good for you and in your life. My friend Shannon, it is not a mystery why she's amazing. She's an awesome teacher. She's great to work with. She's very like, she'll bounce ideas off. She's just great. And I am so lucky to work with really supportive, awesome people that I get to also call my friends. Okay. Remember this morning, I was telling you my goals for today. My first goal was to clean up this area. And it's, I mean, it's not like, I'll show you behind me. Like, it's not as bad. Here. This isn't as bad as it was a couple of days ago. But, and there's a huge, like, poster over there on the floor. Because I need to finish making the new poster. So that's actually another like tack on to my goals today. It's not as bad as it was. It's definitely not super organized though. Like I find myself with piles of copies that I have made. And the biggest problem with that is I'll make the copies ahead of time and then forget where I've put them or forget that I've made them all together. So then like, and I'm just kind of scattered because there's so many different like balls in the air all the time and you just kind of have to keep it all straight. So I do have some prep to do for next week as well. I said I wanted to make all of my daily agenda like to-do slides. I want to do that and then actually have the things that are on the to-do list prepped. If I make all of the copies, that will also be a bonus, amazing, yay, I got it done. So I'm gonna get to work and I'll check in with you guys and let you know what I am done with at the end. Okay, so I'm actually in really good shape right now. I have completely, I can show you. Here's my mice and men unit. Doesn't it look great? I have that totally like hammered out. Most of the activities are actually already made and I printed them out. They're either things that I used to do or things that I've adapted or things that my amazing freshman team have already created and they've taught me how to do and now I'm going to use them. So I'm just going to need to make copies probably next week because I need to go and get my kiddos, or at least my daughter. She and I are going to run some errands together. So yeah. It's fantastic. All the quizzes are already made because I've already taught this before, so that's good. And I did have to make myself a note because I have to make quizzes for my sophomores for their reading books, but that's not until next Wednesday. So I'm actually in good shape. Unless I'm completely forgetting something, which is entirely possible, but that's okay. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, even though you're going to be seeing this on Saturday, so happy weekend. If you've not already subscribed to the Caffeinated Classroom, please take a second and do so. Click the little bell so that you don't miss any of these daily vlogs. I am vlogging now every weekday with classroom vlogs, and then I'll probably do like one weekend teacher mom at home vlog a week, and that will be coming your way very, very soon. So until we meet again, thank you guys so much for stopping by. See ya.